Hello and welcome to Designer Discussions with Jason and Miriam. Today we're joined by Rodger Enters, and we're going to talk about the hidden side of remodeling, engineering, collaboration, and building better projects. Welcome to Designer Discussions Podcast with
Miriam
and Jason. Tune in each week where we discuss marketing, PR, and business advice for design professionals.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Rodger, to our podcast. And in the interest of full disclosure, Rodger is my partner and we live together. So we are.
I was going to ask that because y'all are in the same place. I was going to say normally we don't have the other person that we're interviewing in the same spot. Okay.
I was going to go upstairs and open up my computer just to make it look a little.
We figured we'd be completely open.
Yeah.
Just to let all the listeners know, we only have a small percent that actually watch the YouTube. So anybody listening, this is for you.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly. So, we're excited to have you on because this is the first time we've never had a structural engineer on the program, and it'll be really interesting to kind of see how the different disciplines interact. And Roger's also here to talk a little bit about the benefits of being part of professional trade organization. So we'll get into all of that. But Roger, first, tell us a little bit about your business and what Epong Engineering, which is the name of your company, actually does.
So, well, thank you for having me on. This is going to be a lot of fun. Epong Engineering is a structural engineering consulting firm. We are we're in our 10th year, so have just hit our 10th anniversary a couple of weeks ago, so that's exciting. Um, and we do in this context, we do residential structural engineering consulting. We do also some commercial and industrial engineering consulting. But so that's the kind of core of what we do.
Yeah, so a lot of our listeners definitely have worked with people in your capacity, and probably a lot of them would like to have somebody available
Yeah. Yes.
like you because it's hard to find a structural engineer
Yeah.
for residential projects,
I
right?
can
That,
second that. I can
yeah.
second that
Mhm.
because in the Texas market, I get asked that all the time. Structural engineers for residential. I know a lot of them on the commercial side, but not a lot on the residential side. So that is very true.
Yeah, and it's so rare actually. We will be talking about trade organizations like we're a member of NARI, and I literally when I joined NARI, I had them actually create a new category. They have all the categories of the different, like masons, general contractors, plumbers. I had them literally create another category for structural engineers because I am literally the only one in the southeastern Wisconsin area.
Mm.
So we're a rare breed.
Yeah. So we're not going to talk a lot about marketing because all Roger has to do to grow his business is answer his phone, so that's really easy. So,
Please don't call.
but so talking about NARI or NARI, however
Yeah.
you want to say it,
That-
I understand both is legitimate. It just depends
yeah.
where you're from.
Yeah.
But so tell us a little bit about how you first got involved and why you decided to join.
Yeah. Well, so I first got involved right from the very beginning when I incorporated the company, and I knew that started 10 years ago and knew that the networking aspect of business is just really important. And so I was convinced of that. And in joining, I just, found out other benefits of being a part of the organization and I've been off and on a member of NARI. It hasn't been continuous the last 10 years because sometimes I literally get so busy I just don't even have time to
Mhm.
invest in the organization. So Um, yeah, so that's kind of where I've always realized that being a part of these organizations are is very beneficial.
Yeah, because there's another one that you're a member of,
Yeah,
right?
I'm also a member of the Metropolitan Builders Association
In
in
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
and
that one you also like.
I like that one a lot, and um, yeah. So in both of them, I'm involved in some of the subcommittees. Like I do some arbitration in mediation for both of
Mm.
those organizations. So you get involved in different things as you become more, of a professional in it's a way of giving back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
also,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. But so for those listeners who have not been involved in any trade organizations, like what would you say is the real value beyond networking that these organizations provide?
Yeah. So there's several things that have come to mind with that. I'd say, well, networking is obviously huge.
Mhm.
So you can't, I mean, that's why I first got involved. And as you get involved, you realize some it's a incredible way. I would say the next biggest benefit of being a member of one of these organizations is that it gives legitimacy to your business.
Yeah.
Um, I will often even I will if I don't have so oftentimes homeowners they contract me to do some work and or do the consulting and they said, well, who do you have anybody you recommend to do
Mm.
this project? And I've worked with several remodelers and I have a sense for what kind of projects the remodelers that I work with where they specialize.
Hmm.
Some like the smaller projects, some just can't be bothered with them. They'd rather do the bigger project. So it's like I try to match the project with them.
Yeah.
So if I don't have a specific remodeler that I know would be good for the project, I will often just say, go to the NARI website. Remodelers on the NARI website are going to be a higher standard than just doing a Google search. A Google
Yeah,
search, you
for
don't
sure.
know who you're going to get. But remodelers who are a part of NARI or MBA or in any other trade organization, they're already invested in, so they have the continuing education program, which is great. But it just kind of sets you apart as being, you're serious
You're more
about this.
credible.
You're more
Yeah.
credible.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that leads us to the next question, kind of like how can designers and remodelers actually get value out of their local NARI chapter or any
Yeah.
chapter of a professional organization that they're part of?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not rocket science. You get out what you put in,
Hmm.
and I mean, I would say a bare minimum is each one of these do have like a monthly meetup and get involved with that. You'll meet the core people of that chapter of that organization, and you continue to talk to them over the months. You get involved. You really do. You have to put time in.
Hmm.
You have to set time aside. This is not after hours. Don't think of it as that. Don't think of this as extra. Think of this as business development. And if you're serious about developing your business, you have to do things like this. I mean, we're humans and humans thrive on connection. And I will call you because we had that conversation last night about something that it's really kind of uncanny how often that happens. It's like, oh yeah, here's my card. We just, spend an hour talking and getting to know each other. Here, take my card. I'm an engineer. And you get that phone call the next day. It's like, you wouldn't believe it. It's like, well, yeah, I actually do believe it. I have a project that I need you on. Or this literally happened. It's like, oh, oh, you can't go home from this meeting. We have to drive to a job site now because I need you right now. It's like that actually does happen. But and this is in the context of okay, so this that may be unique to an engineer being in a residential. It's like that really is a rare. You don't find a lot
Yeah.
of engineers who are frankly who are willing to do the residential remodel stuff because that's just the commercial is a lot easier. You know, you get a
Mm.
big commercial project, you know what you're going to be doing for the next month. You know, so that's really easy. But this is, I find it really challenging because every project is new. It's you got to be creative and I really just enjoyed that part of it. That's really why I'm a part of this. Yeah.
Mm. To me, it feels like it's a really good niche to be in because
Yeah.
like you have like no competition. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. No,
Yeah. I'm like, there's like
it's
you
really
could
true.
yeah, you could grow this as big as you want. And if you could clone yourself a few times, there would still be enough work, right?
Yeah.
If
And
you
you know,
ever
okay,
head out to
so
Texas, let me know because we
well,
need.
I was just about to put that caveat. I'm only licensed in Wisconsin, and and so this is my kingdom. But
When he thinks
yeah,
about franchising, we'll
yeah,
let you know.
franchise.
Yeah.
I could go through the process of getting licensed in any state, but that's just I'm already. I mean, I'm busy and
Yes.
I, I can't learn other
Yeah.
markets. That's another thing. You know, is you learn your particular market. It is very unique. Like in Wisconsin, other parts of the nation have just other um um have different code requirements and like for
Mm.
example, okay, so just across the border in northern, it's particularly in northern Illinois, every residential needs to be designed by it needs to have a professional stamp on it. So it's like so basically in northern Illinois, it's almost like commercial work. You have to have it's got to be up to commercial
Mm.
code. Every residence is like that. And I don't know where the line is, but I know in southern Illinois it's not like that, but in the at least in the Chicago metro area. So every market is different and
Mm.
so and I don't know that market. I don't have the brain capacity to learn new markets.
Yeah.
I'm already busy. So
So it's really
yeah,
specialized.
it is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. That let's talk a little bit more about um like engineering and where you come in. And actually, before we met, I had very little understanding of how structural engineering fits into
Yeah.
design. And I remember you'd always say, I designed this project. And I'm like, what? But you're an engineer. You're not a
Engineers
designer.
don't
How can
design.
you design things? I get it now. I get
Yeah,
it now.
right.
Um, but so from your perspective as an engineer, what are the biggest mistakes homeowners or professional remodelers make before they bring in an engineer?
Um, it gets down to planning.
Mm.
The more that you plan, the more that you can communicate, the better a project goes. And you almost, I will often come into a project where things have gone bad. Like they've
Mm.
opened up something and, you know, something has gone wrong. Okay, so like just as an example, there was a couple of weeks ago, got a got a phone call from a contractor that had done an addition, like a sunroom on a sunroom addition onto an existing house. And the building inspector called it out because the roof they had just put in like a okay, I'm gonna get a little technical, but they had put a ridge beam instead or a ridge board instead of a ridge beam. So it's not really designed to support the entire ridge of the addition. And they're like, well, this is how we always have done it. It's like, well, you didn't realize that you had a vaulted ceiling, and that kind of negates the assumption that you can just do color ties. You can do ridge board and color ties without a flat ceiling. You can't. It's not, is that the assumption of just using a ridge board is premised on you have a flat ceiling that goes with it. And the building inspector called it out, and it almost went to litigation because the homeowner was very upset. You know, the changes that we're going to have to do was going to significantly change the look of the sunroom, and I kind of came in there, was able to settle. I mean, I was almost like a counselor. I put on my my arbitrator's hat at that point and said, "Okay, I understand. And it really again it came down to miscommunication.
Yeah.
It's like at that point things were heated. People stopped listening to each other, and I was able to come in as a you know non-biased third party and say, well, what is it going to take to fix this? And I used my 3D analysis software to say, okay, typically, the code doesn't allow this, except for unless of a structural engineer analyzes this, and we were able to just make a couple of modifications and maintain the look of the place, and when I put my stamp on it, then everybody was happy.
Yeah.
The building inspector was happy, the homeowners was happy, and it didn't go to litigation. So it all worked
Yeah.
out.
That worked out really
Yeah.
well. Yeah. But so basically it's you usually are called in when it's too late.
Yeah,
Oftentimes.
I mean, okay, so then that person learned that remodeler learned is okay, so now he has me come in to look at other projects. You just realize, oh, it can't make these assumptions, and it's worth maybe having sometimes it's as simple as they send me over the plans saying this is what we're intending to to build. Do you see a problem with that? Another thing I thought of too is, it's like, okay, an easy example is removing a wall, and is the big question is this a load bearing wall, because that's a problem. And yeah, we can definitely size a beam that will fit in the ceiling. Like if you want a flat ceiling across, completely remove it and no beam exposed. We can that's a little more restrictive, but we can design something that gives you a flat ceiling. But also, just another maybe thing to be aware of is, just because you realize it's not a load bearing wall, it might still be structural, because it might actually be a lateral bracing, a wind brace wall. It might be being used as that. So just because it's not load bearing, it still might be structural. So it's like,
Yeah.
so you just send over the plans, and they can send the plans to an engineer, and they can look at it for a couple of $100. They can look at it and say, okay, what you're intending to do it'll work, or we suggest making these modifications.
Instead of having to fix it after the fact,
Yeah.
which is obviously a lot more
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
Right.
And oftentimes, I mean, this is kind of my secret goal on all projects is I try to save the builder or the homeowner at least my fees in the project. It's like if I can do things smarter for them, they can save a lot of money, and they can even save many times it's multiples of what my fee would have or is, so. So, I think, oh, I can't afford to have an engineer. Actually, sometimes you can't afford not to have an engineer look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Jason's nodding.
Yeah. Also, another thing too. Okay, so this is also my tongue-in-cheek definition of what an engineer does. So between engineers and architects is architects, they come up with a design of what they want it to look like, and engineers come behind them and say, no, this is what it actually takes to to make the physics work.
That's true. That's true. I've taught a lot of students that would design things that practically can't be built, but
Yeah.
it looks good.
So I think that's really helpful, and I'm sure all of our listeners understand way better all the things that
Yeah.
you just talked about.
Yeah.
I'm like the only I'm the only person that's not really working in this trade, I think, who's listening. But it does make good sense to me
Yeah,
just from an overall
yeah.
perspective. But so what in your mind separates the remodeling companies that run great projects from the ones that actually struggle?
The okay, way above everything else is communication.
Mhm.
I mean, almost every bad project, you boil it down to there was a breakdown of communication at some point.
Mm,
Um, Smaller projects you can get away with just kind of like, well, let's just open up walls and see what we find. But beyond that, it's like the more that you can communicate and let people know what to expect before things happen, you know,
mm,
before their expectations don't meet what your expectations were, the better the project is going to go. So communicate, communicate, communicate. That really is such a, I mean, and it's like, you nobody ever does it right because we just sometimes we make these assumptions. It's like this is so obvious I don't even think to talk
yeah.
about this, and so but it's when something goes wrong that you realize, okay, I didn't. When you do the post-mortem on a project and it's like, oh yeah, this is where we could have done better, and it's almost always that's what it comes down to.
So true
Yeah.
for a lot of things and a lot of businesses in
Yeah.
life. So that being said, I mean, engineers are not generally well known for being excellent communicators. Um, I would say. Um,
There's a
so
there's a joke about
that
that.
so I think that can be a misconception. But what are some of the misconceptions that people have about structural engineers and what they are and what they're not, or what they
Yeah.
can help with and what they can't
Yeah.
help with?
Well, I mean, again, I think that the biggest thing is that you can't afford to have an engineer look at
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
Um, I think because we can come up with solutions that I'm actually surprised sometimes when it's like when I start talking about. So when I go to a job site, I'll try to come up with two, three, different possible ways that something can be constructed. And it's really surprising to me sometimes. It's like, wait a second, you can that can be done. It's like it's things that they just haven't even considered. I'll just offer as, oh yeah, that's we if we change this whatever it is, on the plan, we can remove that column that is really just kind of right in front of the doorway that that you
Hmm.
really want to get rid of. It's like we can get rid of that, for example. It's like,
Hmm.
and sometimes um it just so that adds a lot of value to the final product. We can all like I said before, it can oftentimes save save money on the project by just doing things smarter rather than,
Hmm.
changing. If you can just change something, and allow us to use this as a load bearing wall or move this 2 feet or whatever, something that's in the end it might be inconsequential to the final home, but for an engineer, it's like, well, this will open up a possibility that we can then remove that wall or that kind of thing. It's like it's you just never really know the things that are possible.
Yeah. I have a great example for this. Is actually when we remodeled our basement.
Oh
And a good friend of mine who's an interior designer was here and she had ideas of how to do things. And
yeah.
then when you and her talked together, um, like we moved one door and we
Yeah.
ended up with a much bigger, like a real
Yeah.
huge bedroom. And
Yeah.
I don't know, the entire design completely changed. And I,
Yeah.
I would have never been able to come up with that.
Yeah.
But
We eliminated the
between,
hallway, which I
yeah,
think
yeah,
hallways are
that
just,
was huge.
yeah,
That was such a waste of
all that
place.
room went into the
Yeah.
the bedroom.
So,
Yeah.
so having that communication between the designer and the engineer architect if you have one. I can
Yeah.
totally see how that's huge. It was very beneficial in our case. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I think this is really good information. Jason, do you have any questions for
Yeah, I
me?
have one. So,
Okay.
as an architect, I actually hear about contractors and engineers, and they have misconceptions about who they are, what they do. So, what are some misconceptions you hear about engineers and what you do?
Well, I think one thing that I hear consistently, and again, I think it's kind of a running joke, but there's always a little barb behind a joke. Is like, oh, engineers just all they do is they stamp plans. They look at them, stamp plans, and then move on. And it's like, no, there's a lot of there's a y- you have to be able to see a project in three dimensions in your mind and understand the load paths and how things are coming down to ground and if I think that can add so much value to a project once you understand that, okay, you're all on the same team trying to get the best
Mm.
product out there so I think yeah, a lot of I think also another thing that I kind of come up against is that um well, this is the way we've always done it.
I hate that.
You know,
I hate when people say that.
or even like, okay, another one is just kind of a subset of that is, well, this building is 70 years old, so it's got to be okay. It's like, no. They do actually have a life cycle and they need renovation.
One question I ask all guests when we're on, the younger you, if you were standing or sitting next to him right now, what would you say to him about either getting into the profession that you're in or heading in a different direction?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say there was a lot of fear in starting my own business, and I kind of in the back of my mind I knew that this is a good business model. I just was very convinced of that. But I had a young family, and you're leaving a good corporate job and heading out into the unknown, and so that can be fearful. But I was convinced that it's a good business model that can really do a lot of good things, and it could make financial sense. So I would just say, a lie I was telling myself back then is I'm not ready. Younger me, you're not ready for this to start out on your own. And you think, I just another year or two or three or 10 of experience, you know? And the truth is, you're kind of never ready, fully ready. There's never a good time to do it. Just do it. Um, Believe in yourself. I think that there's so many things, and also learn your limitations. Don't jump into that multi-million-dollar project as your first project. It's like learn things, make those connections. Those are so critical. Join those. Bringing it back to join NARI, join Metropolitan Builders Association, whatever is vibrant in your area. Just go and talk to people. Actually, I just recently I joined the AIA, the architect. What does AIA stand for?
American Institute of Architects.
That's it. And I want to do the meet and greet with them. I haven't had the time. I mean, those monthly meetups come and they go, and there's always something that just prevents me from doing that. But I'm committed to doing that, and it's just yeah, it's good because I know architects, correct me if I'm wrong, but architects would love to talk to engineers. Like, we have these projects, that kind of thing. Think outside the box. Don't think of NARI isn't the only option. There are just just there are those opportunities. Let people know what you're passionate about. Get those opportunities to talk about your passion. If you're a passionate builder,
Mhm.
that's contagious. Let people know what you're all about, and you will develop really good relationships very quickly, I believe.
That ties into marketing, making sure everybody knows what you do. Because
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I talk to people that say, "Oh, my XYZ didn't even know I did this." Why not?
Yeah.
Because they can meet someone that may be able to hand you a job, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
need to open
right.
your mouth. You need to market. You need to get out there.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to be contacted, but we also ask at the end, if any of our listeners or want to reach out to you, how do they do so?
So probably you could probably by email. So it's Rodger, Rodger at Epong Engineering, EPANGENGR.com. Or that EPANGENGR.com is the website. Um, Probably is that's the
Yes.
best way to get. And yeah, if you have any questions, absolutely, I would love to talk with you and see you explore your journey too. Yeah, that's always exciting. That's
Awesome.
that's kind of a flip side of these organizations. When you've been in them for a while, it's like you start taking on more of that mentoring role,
Mhm.
and I love that. I love the mentoring aspect of it. So please do contact and I'll be excited to see hear about your journey.
See how we turn that around at the beginning of the episode? He didn't want you to contact now. You can reach out. So,
It's like magic.
It's like it's all you, Jason.
Rodger, we appreciate your time. And for anybody listening, if you want to reach out to him, please do so. So, we hope to hear and see you all in 2 weeks on Design Discussions. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Designer Discussions and all of the helpful information. Subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and share it with your friends. We look forward to having you back next week. For more information on the podcast and the marketing studio, visit designerdiscussions.com and follow us on social media.